Welcome to MacGyver's Workshop, where you never know what we're going to be working on next. If you're not too careful, you just might learn something.
Hi there. Welcome back to another episode of MacGyver's Workshop, where you never know what we're going to be working on next, and if you're not too careful, you just might learn something. So, of course, in our last video, you saw where we finally got the bed stripped off. But you know, anytime you're working on a rusted out vehicle, you know, it's to be expected. It's going to fight you the whole way. And our next phase is probably not going to be much easier. Because now we're going to start working on getting the cab and the fenders and all that sort of thing off. So this morning I spent some time taking off some of the stuff along the bottom here. I took the running boards off, took the catalytic converter off. So we're gonna need to move that over to the other frame, and then we're gonna have to set the truck down and roll it back a little bit so we can get inside the cab. And we're gonna go ahead and gut the cab out. You know, pull the big bench seat out and get to where we can get to the cab mount and bolts and things like that. So let's get cracking. All right, so one of the things that I had elaborated on earlier when you're disassembling a vehicle down to bits is to make sure you have lots of storage bags, and make sure, you know, you just write on them with a Sharpie, and you know, that way you keep them all together and you don't get mixed up with other screws that might be slightly shorter, slightly longer, whatever. So that's why it's always important to have lots of storage bags. I got the seat out already, and I've got most of the instrument panel trim, and working on the getting the instrument panel and all that out. You know, you want to be careful with this stuff because a lot of this stuff's getting hard to come by. Now this one's totally trashed with the sun just ate the little fake wood grain up. I'm not sure how we're going to deal with that, but we'll burn that bridge when we get to it. Now in a later episode, we'll be going over how we're going to kind of refresh this instrument cluster with, you know, repainting the needles and polishing the plastic lens, and we'll upgrade all the little bulbs with LEDs. So one thing was these dashes tended to be real dim back in the day, so putting some nice new technology LEDs in there will brighten this thing up, make it look good. Oh, now we gotta get this. Now we gotta get this whole instrument panel out of here. That's gonna be fun. Oh. All right. When you're pulling one of these instrument panels out, remember you got one little tiny bolt right up in here, so you're gonna have to drop the steering wheel down. And it's 8mm or 5/16, depending. And you're gonna have to get that out before you can get the instrument panel out. You don't want to break anything if you can help it. Whew. This truck was built in the days before they had modular assembly and all that sort of thing. Nowadays you unplug a harness and undo about 4 bolts and the whole instrument panel comes out the side of the vehicle, but this one you got to do it the hard way. Now we've got the seat out, we got the dash out, I've got the doors off and the hood off. My buddy, fellow YouTuber, Daddy Tech Ant popped by last night and lent a hand getting the hood and the doors off. That was a big help. Thank you there, Jim. And now we're going to start getting some of the minutia stuff out of there. Like I said, I got the whole instrument panel out. I got the wiring harness out. And now we're going to go after the little stuff. And I'll show you something here that's kind of cool. It's a neat little tool to have when you're getting into tight spaces. This is a little right angle ratcheting driver that fits different kinds of bits, like in this case just a regular Phillips screwdriver bit. And even though I am going to be pulling this windshield glass out at some point, I'm not there yet, so it's just as easy for like taking this piece out here, which is screwed down to the front of the cab. There's not enough room to get a screwdriver in there, but this will. This will get right down in there and give you enough room to run that out when you can't get a screwdriver in there. I tell you, if this windshield had any more slope on it, I'd have been out of luck and I had to pull the glass out first. But in this case, it works out well. And this little thing is really, really handy. There we go. Got her. All right. Here we go. Takes care of that. Now we've got couple of nuts on the studs here. Little bolt here and over here. And now the inside part of our heater box is ready to come out. And I call that a heater box because in this truck it doesn't have air conditioning. It was pretty common back in the day, especially if there's a northern truck like this one was bought in Pennsylvania. You know, they didn't really, air conditioning wasn't a big thing. So, plus it was pretty high cost option. So, and now you can't hardly buy a car without air conditioning. But this is an oldie, a classic. So, hard pressed to find one without air now. There we go, and we'll find out why the truck was overheating originally, because he's got a bad heater core. How about that? Now what you'll find in working on one of these is a seemingly never-ending layer of complexity. So as I'm currently working on stripping out the inside of the cab, in the firewall to get the cab completely emptied out, to get the outside half of the heater box off, have to take the fender off. Now in order to take the fender off, you got to take everything off the front of the truck, trim and all that, and the bumper. So, you know, so while sometimes you'll see me going through this, it seems like I'm jumping around the different parts of the truck. That's why, because, you know, it's like a rabbit hole. It just kind of goes deeper and deeper and deeper, you know, and in any restoration, it's going to end up doing the same thing with your wallet, just deeper and deeper and deeper. But as I'm going to take the front bumper off here, I've already got a lot of the plastic trim out, but amazingly, all four of these bumper bolts are just coming right off, easy peasy, no problem, which is really quite amazing, because usually you end up having to cut these things out because they're so rusted in there. But you know, every now and then you get lucky, I guess. Whew. That's done. All right, we got the driver's side fender off. Now we got to work on this one. The plastic inner fender well. You know, these fenders rust really bad up in here, so it's like impossible to get these little screws out, little sheet metal screws that hold these things in. So you end up having to cut them. This one has the battery box in it. Of course, it's totally rusted and rotted out, but we got what was left of it out of there, and a few more bolts, and she'll come on out of there pretty easy. And you see this piece right here. This is the radiator support. It's all rusted and collapsing down. That kind of stuff's what messes up all your body lines. They don't line up right. That's that bit. So now that I have the fender and all off here, you can get to these two bolts, one here and one here. Now you can get to them with the fender on, but since we're taking it all apart, it's just so much less hassle to wait till we get the fender off. Then this whole thing will come out nice and easy. Whew, now we gotta get this piece off. This is always fun, because this trim or reveal molding here doesn't always cooperate. One more screw holding it right there. Let's see, this one. There we go. Oh yeah, that's the rust. Oh yeah. Oh, a lot of rust. There we go. There's damn tissue paper there. All right, so we've got just about everything out of the cab now. We're just about ready to lift the cab off. I've got the cab mounts. They're gonna put up a big fight, I know, because they're all rusted out really bad. Got just about everything out of here. I still have to get the emergency brake lever or pedal out of there yet, but that won't take too long. I got the transmission tunnel cover off, and you can see how the floor is here. Not terrible on this side, but it's really ate up on that side. You can see where somebody tried to patch it, stuck a piece of metal in there, but we can weld new pieces in there for that, and we can get a new cab mount to go on the outside, fix that. That'll be easy. That's a little bit of cutting and welding, nothing major. So that's gonna be it for now. I had a long weekend. That allowed me to spend 4 days working on this thing, so not exactly sure when I'll be able to get back on this, but we'll see. I still got to pull the back glass out, still got to pull the front glass out, got to pull that visor off. But I'll do that probably after I pull the cab off the truck. And then of course I had to order a special tool to get that windshield reveal molding off of there. The bottom part that goes across the front, that pops off pretty easy, but you need a special tool to get that other stuff going up the side there. Otherwise you'll bend up the trim and ruin it. We don't want to do that, because that trim's in good shape. So anyway, that's going to be it for now. So till next time, thanks for watching.